Yeah, Peoples is out in California now.
Yeah. He good guy. I don't talk about anybody's business, but he got the raw end of the stick, and
I feel like there's a lot of people in government type jobs though.
Yeah.
I feel like they go into it with good intentions, and I could be wrong. I've never been in one, but from the people that I've seen, they go in it with good intentions, and unfortunately, either favoritism or just old dudes at the top that don't want to see other people succeed in their own way, or they either keep them suppressed. Truthfully, that's like Apple. Apple was great at promising the world when I worked there, promising the world, and then just keeping people very content with being in their position and staying in their position.
Control.
Yeah.
Control.
And it's you'll get to corporate. We'll get you out to Cupertino. You'll get to corporate. Okay, when? Is there a timeline, or am I just going to keep slaving away at the fucking corporate, at the retail store with hopes and aspirations of getting to corporate? Yeah. And then I'm the manager that's 15 years into his career going, I guess I'm here forever. Like, they just forgot about me.
And some people get into that point where they get stuck and they don't want to make a move. See, he wasn't like that, because once he's like, all right, I'll go do something else.
Yeah.
I always respected him for that. But yeah, good dude. So that was about 6 years ago, man.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, that was the first. Because I'm going to tell you right now, our first video we did was, you did the promo shoot for our, I think it might have been FDNY football game at Aviator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about shooting videos with you guys. I always felt bad because most of the games I was at, y'all lost. I was like, fuck. I want to get some cool shit. And everybody's all down and depressed.
Yeah, man. We just get into a shitty thing when we get to the New York teams, man. Like, out-of-state teams, we handle most of the out-of-state teams, right? So we have no issues with out-of-state teams.
Slight work.
Yeah, we come into, I think the last out-of-state team we lost to was probably San Diego in 2018. That was the last out-of-state team we lost to. But, I mean, we get to our New York schedule, and I don't know.
It's a gamble.
Yeah.
I was there for PD.
Yeah.
PD was that was a tough game. I feel like you guys had like a little rally going, but then it started.
The one at Columbia.
Yep.
Right. That was the one when Trav ran back to kick at halftime. We were in it, and then it is with those games, especially PD. Right. PD, they have numbers. They have we roll into games with 40 guys.
And how many of that 40 is healthy?
Healthy. How many of the 40 are actually true football players? We got guys, and that's why you love the league that we're in, because it doesn't matter if you ever play football or not. Like, if you want to come out and be a part of the team, you come out and be a part of the team. Teams like PD, they have tryouts. We don't have tryouts. We have, hey, Nick, you want to come down and play?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. Does your team do this, that? Those guys get tryouts. They get hundreds of guys at their tryouts. I mean, they're a bigger department than we are. The only thing that saves us is we're scrappy, man. We're just a scrappy bunch,
Scrappy.
Yeah, FD, we've gone back and forth with FD for a few years. They've had our numbers the last couple of years. I'm going to say, because they took some of our good players. Like, they have our old quarterback. A couple of our star players are over there right now. Good for those guys. They beat PD the last maybe 4 or 5 years in a row.
PD still at the top?
Yeah, I mean, FD, PD, they're the cream of the crop of the league, I mean, New York is really where it's at, and then you got the team up north in Westchester, the Shields. So you got 4 good solid teams in New York, right? So, but I don't know, man. We just hit the New York schedule, and physical games, we get injuries. A lot of guys, bow out. I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing football for fun. You still got a career to go do, right? Like, that's why we're here, right? We're all law enforcement officers, so that always gets to us. But yeah, so I this is my first year with Trav as the vice president. So I did a lot of stuff, had to take a lot of stuff off his plate. I mean, Trav's a good dude. It's too much for one person to handle. I mean, even looking back at it now, I don't know how Chamberlain did it. Chris, before Trav took over, Chambo was the president. I don't know how he did it. And I know he did a majority of it by himself. It's crazy, man. It's a lot entailed, man.
Well, it burns you out. That's the problem. The more that I dive into the thought process of just being not minimalistic, but just being more present and doing what you need to do to get done to get back to life. That's really kind of the thought process that I've been living on now as of late. When you do stuff like that, it's very difficult to separate yourself because there is just far too much to do in a single day and you don't have enough hours. if you're going to get all your regular work done that you need to sustain you and everything else you got going on, and then to be able to go to the gym and stay healthy and eat right and do everything. And oh wait, now here's my obligation that I signed up for to basically help the team out and do as much as I can and take it off Trav's plate.
It's nonstop, man. It's nonstop. And I tell him this all the time, like, you know, I tell the lady this all the time, like, yo, man, it's to a point where I'm burnt out sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah. And you know, and then just like you said, that's the hardest part. Then I got to do all that stuff. And then I still have to make sure I train, which, you know, that's suffered a lot with work and the new gig and, you know, just life, but just trying to maintain my training schedule to still be able to play at my freaking age. Cause I think I'm not gonna say I'm the oldest player. I think there's maybe one or two guys older than me on the team. But you know, it's a lot that goes into it. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a nonprofit, you know, organization. So it's, you know, we're kind of, what we bring in helps us do what we have to do to pretty much go give it to our charity. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's a lot. You know, I wanted to do it because, you know, Trav it was getting to him last season. I said, bro, you know, let me help. I think I facilitated helping with the indoor facility. And then once we went to that, Trav was like, you know, Kaz, listen, like, I could use your help. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll help. And then, so this year I did the schedule, I did the fields. I took a lot off his plate. It's actually running smooth now. You know, this is year, I think this is his third year doing it. So we're running a little smoother now. Dexter's the other vice president.
Shout out Dex.
Yeah, Dex. He's not playing this season. This is his first season not playing, so he's jumped in and took on a lot of the roles. Like, you know, what used to kill us is game day. You know, I go back to last season, like, game day stuff falls apart. Now you got me and Trav in full uniform when we should be on the field getting ready for a football game.
Focusing on the actual game.
We're doing the admin stuff. So hopefully Dex comes through. And we got a couple other guys that aren't playing this year that should help in that role just to help us you know, be football players on those days, right? So
it's tough when you have to juggle that, the corporate responsibility of the side of things.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to be in the mode of, you know, we were talking a little bit before before we started and cut the mics on about just my workload and stuff like that. When you are hired to do video and photo work, plus maybe obviously the editing, you know, if it's the same day or whatever it might be, but the second you start having to do extra shit, there's only so much you could do before everything starts falling apart. Everything and the original thing that you were hired to do or that you needed to do, which for you would be play football and play efficiently, safely, intensely, and win, you can't focus on now, and then it falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a domino effect, right? Because now you think about, we're supposed to be get ready for a game, but yet somebody didn't show up or this happened. So now I step off the field, or me and Trav step off the field to help address that problem. But now the team is warming up without us. You know, I'm one of the captains. I've been a captain almost, I think, 8-9 years. So now I'm out of my leadership role, right? And then now I'm out of getting in sync with my offense, with my quarterback. So now instead of warming up, throwing the ball at my quarterback and running through the offense, now the second guy that's behind me, he's in, which that's fine because anything could happen at any time. But what happens when I go back in, I'm not warmed up. Our chemistry is off, you know, stuff like that. So hopefully, you know, everything's learning, man, right? So last year we learned that it didn't work the way we did it. This year we have a different approach. I mean, and who knows? We open up next Friday night against Chicago PD. We got Chicago PD coming in. Maybe something new will come up that we like, all right, you know what? We did A, B, and C different this year. We did that differently from last year. But you know what? Now E and F, that's something new. Now, you know, going to the next one, now we know we have to, you know, control E and F, right? You know, so it's always evolving, you know. And I rely heavily on like the old guys. Like I call Chambo all the time. I get a lot of knowledge from the NYPD coaches, the FD coaches, their presidents, you know, how they did things, how they do things, you know, separately, of course, because they, you know, they always, I know that's just a rivalry. I think that's going to go to the end of time. But, you know, so we're in a good spot. I mean, we open up next weekend and I'll be happy to get the ball rolling, all the hard work we've done so far. And then the only thing left to do is just put it on the field and hopefully, you know, the team comes through, the guys come through. We got some new young players, which was good for us because, in the correction department, we don't get that many classes compared to like PD and FD and Y and stuff like that. So they're getting like hundreds of kids and hundreds of officers and firefighters. We're getting 25, 30.
And some dudes that were probably playing at a high level potentially could have went to college and done it at a high level, and they just decided to stick with being a police officer or a firefighter, and now they're able to, oh shit, I can still play, I can still do my thing.
And they do. I think PD has a couple guys that played pro. I'm not sure if FD does. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a couple guys that play pro also. But they just, like I said, they're getting 50 to 100 new recruits. We're getting 25, 30, our job it's a crappy job, it's a hard job, who wants to say they want to go sit inside a jail cell for 8 to 16 hours a day, 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week, depending on if they cancel your day off. Then on top of that, now you want to come play football on your own dime, on your own time, like it gets to be a lot. So, those are the issues that we deal with that, most of those other teams don't have to deal with. The team up north, Tri-State, they're probably the closest one to that with us as far as their numbers. But they have a different pool of players to pick from because, they can get guys from Westchester, Connecticut, some guys from the city that don't want to drive to wherever PD practices. They live in Westchester. So they have a different pool. But as far as being as close to us, like, they're the only team because PD and FD, like I said, they're getting, they hold tryouts, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they got about 200, 300 guys at the tryout. Like, I think I'd pass out if I saw 200 guys come down.
Goddamn.
Yeah. I think the most we had was probably that first year you started filming with us. I think our roster was probably in the high 60s. That was our roster. I mean, because we had...
You guys had it was a solid team. It was a stacked out team.
Yeah. We just, some things fall through the cracks.
Yeah, it happens. And, especially injuries. I mean, you've been playing for how many years now? Just in general, sport-wise.
Sport? Oh, man. Probably playing football or sports longer than most people have been alive.
Yeah. Now think about that in terms of just being able to stay healthy and your body don't work the same that it always did, and not that it's always a negative, but you have to adapt and you got to change things up.
That's the hardest thing, and it's funny, and I'm sure you've heard this too. That's the funny thing as, growing up, when we were younger, you hear all the older guys, oh man, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna be good. And then like, you wake up one day like, I just got out of bed, my back hurts, stuff like that. But, I try to tell a lot of the younger guys, like, start taking care of your body now, man. Like, all this wear and tear you're putting on it now, like, even though you may think you don't need it, like, start taking care of it because in the long run, like, it's going to benefit you. Like, all the stuff I do now, man, if I was doing it, if I would have listened to some of the old timers that were in the gym, that, were in karate with me, guys I used to bounce with, if I would have listened to those guys back then, instead of being the typical young, I'm young, I got great genetics, I'm good. If I would have started doing it then, I'd probably be in an even better position than I am now, right? Yeah. So, and I mean, I do everything still, dude. I mean, I'm still hot yoga, stretching, I'm still doing the Thai. I don't do it as much. There's a lot of stuff on the plate, but, even still doing the Thai. I remember I went back to the dojo. My old crew opened up his own place in Bethpage, and nice. I went, shout out to Rodney, Bethpage Kickboxing Academy. I went, and young fighter, and I get on the mat, he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 43. He's like, you're 43? I'm 44 now. He's like, you're 43? I'm like, yeah. He's like, man, black don't crack. He's like, you look good for 43. I'm like, all right, cool. I guess that's my first one. He started getting like, oh, you look good for that age. And I'm like, dang, I remember I used to say that to people. Like, I mean, dude,
listen, I'm always with Jamal, obviously. Jay. Dude, fucking think about both of you guys.
Yeah,
right?
Jay.
Still performing at high levels. Yeah. And listen, you're not old by any stretch of the measure. Obviously, in our mindset, sometimes you have to correct yourself when we constantly think that. Because me at 32, I start going, oh, and, my boys will start digging at me like, oh, Nick, you're getting up there and this and that. Because I'll tell them, I'm like, yo, man, I'm fucking sore. I'm hurting and this and that. Oh, you're getting up there. But then you also have to think about it from the other side. It's like, well, how many 32-year-olds, and especially in your position as well, how many 44-year-olds are doing what you're doing on a daily basis? The amount of activity, the amount of recovery that you're putting into all these things. I mean, technically with me rolling 5 days a week and on top of it doing a 1 hour hit session of weights and cardio almost every single morning, I probably should be sore. Like,
Yeah.
I can. There's a reason why I'm. If I was waking up and I wasn't doing anything and my body was hurting, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's
coming. That's coming though.
Oh, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's coming because I feel how beat up I get with just like the little things.
Yeah.
And it really does take a toll. Like I wake up, Kenji, man, he's a dick, man.
Yeah.
I love him. He's a dick. Every morning at 6:30 in the morning, he starts waking me up.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. And it's cool because I was waking up at 5 a.m. for a while. So I was beating him up when I was waking up at 4:45, 5 a.m. But now, because of just my gym schedule changed and just in general, I've been going to the gym maybe 6:15 if I do, or the 8:45 class, which is what I did today. First off, I was supposed to get a haircut and a beard trim and everything like that. Your man's looking grizzly. Right now. For me, this is grizzly. This
is the older Nick.
This is looking, it's looking crazy.
I like it though.
It's looking crazy. But so Kenji will just like start circling my bed back and forth and start sneezing and making all kinds of noises.
Make sure.
And it's like after a while, I'm just like, okay, dude, what? Like I'm up, and especially if I did jiu-jitsu the night before, I'll swing those feet over, and I'll just even my elbows don't stop making noises now.
Yeah,
I'll swing my feet over and I'll go, yeah, that hurts.
Yeah,
like, I'm feeling it. Like young kid, must be like 18 years old.
Yeah.
He kneed me right in the quad.
Yeah, I hate those.
2 nights ago. Bro, I told him yesterday night, I said, dude, you gave me the worst dead leg I've had in years. Yeah. Still in my leg. Yeah. It's hard to run. It's hard to stretch. I was like, God damn, man, I'm just getting my ass kicked all day. But what would it be like if we didn't work out like this?
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
How would your body degrade at what percentage quicker if you weren't doing all of this activity? Because motion is medicine. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that. By staying active, I mean, listen, when it comes down to it, obviously having someone rip your knee in half at jiu-jitsu, that's a different, you know.
Yeah.
But rolling responsibly, keeping active consistently with rehabilitation, stretching, all the different modalities that you work in a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Think about all the people that are in both our age brackets that don't do that. Yeah. Not only do they look like shit, but they have a slew of health problems. So I guess I'd rather keep waking up with my elbows continually cracking and all this stuff than look like some of the other people I know in my age group.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a difference, and like I'll even yell at you, like, you know, what are you doing for your recovery? Are you icing, or you know?
So when I sprained my ankle, Nick, and you could tell him this when you go there later too, Dr. Scott, Dr. Nick, shout out.
Yeah.
But you can go tell him and he'll laugh. I didn't even get to tell you how the ankle injury happened. So we were, because it goes into recovery. So we were playing King of the Hill. And when we were playing King of the Hill, Matt Serra brings me out and he goes, all right, Rizzles, you're out, this and that. He goes, all right, everybody, watch out for Nick. He's not your average white belt. I said, oh, man, it's 7:30 in the morning. Don't say that.
Yeah.
I go, I'm tired, man.
That's antennas up.
Yeah, because now everybody's like, oh, Matt. I was like, no, dude, it's not that serious. Everybody be cool. So the first dude comes out, white belt, older guy. You can tell he's super new. I mean, he's going way too hard. And I'm telling him, I'm like, bro, slow down. Like, relax. It's okay. Like, just chill. I talk to people now. I'm that guy when I roll. I'm like, yo, bro, relax. Like, you're going to just breathe. You're gassing yourself out. I could sit here all day. I'm chilling. So he's going a little crazy. I sweep him. Fine. Blue belt comes off the wall. And the goal, for those that don't know, is if you're down for King of the Hill, that means you start on your back, laying down. The person that's coming off the wall has to pass your guard, or they have to submit you. My goal is to either sweep them, which means I sweep them off of their position of being in front of me into a more dominant position, whether I go to mount or side control, whatever. I sweep them, I submit them, or I back out, wrestler style, like the Gracie get-up type, where you put one arm out and you're able to get out and you're clear. So the blue belt comes off the wall. We're going back and forth a little bit. I almost sweep him. And then I kind of like just buck him a little bit and I back out. Fine. Now the white belt comes off the wall. And it's a kid that is an ex-wrestler. Very nice kid. Very nice kid. I have to like, preface that. And basically what happened was I said to him when he came over to me, I said, yo, bro, don't hurt me. I said, let's relax. Let's just chill. He's just like, oh, joking around, whatever. I'm not joking. Let's just relax. So we're going back and forth. And when we go, he's a little bit younger than me. He's strong for his size, but he feels that I'm strong too. So he tries to like match. And I'm like, yo, bro, like just chill. He stands up. I almost dummy sweep him, both legs out from underneath him. And he takes one foot and puts it behind so I can't grab the other ankle, whatever. So my legs are still wrapped around him. He's standing and I do like a little, it's called like a delegation hook where I come around the side and I come around the outside of his leg and my right leg pushes his other leg out to get him away from me. And as I did that, it creates some space. I take his shoulder, I push him a little bit, and I backed out. Done.
Good. Yeah.
Nope. He re-grabs me while we're standing, and I look at him, I go, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And now he goes to put his left leg around my right leg to do a takedown and throw me to the side. Yeah. So I grab him again, I toss him to the side. I'm like, bro, the round's over. What are you doing? And he rips me straight down. Now, this all happened in the matter of like seconds. It wasn't like I said that to him, he paused, and then he did it. It was like he was still going.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And he ripped me straight down. And when he ripped me straight down, I based out with that right foot that he had around his left leg around.
Felt it.
And then all of a sudden, all of our weight just went on the ankle, and my whole ankle just went underneath both of us like this, and all you heard was crack.
Yeah.
And I said, yo, get off of me. I'm like, what is wrong with you, bro? I push him off. Sarah's like, yo, is everything cool? I go, I don't know yet. Big toe went numb instantly, like shot to the big toe. And then I didn't see the ankle yet. So my thought process was with how loud and how hard that snap felt. I'm like, oh, the bone's got to be sticking through the skin right now. This is over. Like this is a not career ending for jiu-jitsu, but this is a month out type of a rehab. And I looked at the ankle, no bruising, no swelling. I was like, okay. And I stood up and it just felt off. So I sat back down, called up Scott and Nick, went to their office. They bladed it. They did everything that they had. They stretched it out a little bit. And they said, you probably have a grade 2 sprain, so a slight tear, this and that. Just stay off it. I stayed off it for about a week and a half. And then I started going back and putting the brace on it and getting some reps in. Couldn't do any impact at the gym yet, like running, but I was doing all the weights and doing all that stuff. And then, just intermittently, I would get the fucking dudes that I'm like, yo, my ankle is beaten up. And I'd be like, yo, just, chill on the ankle. And they'd start grabbing. I'm like, yo, bro, I just said chill on the fucking ankle.
Yeah.
There was a dude, I'm going to keep this very brief because he doesn't even deserve the airtime. I'm not even going to say his name. Because I don't fucking like him. He's a black belt at Sarah's. Okay. Don't fucking like him. Okay. I did not like how he handled this. One of the dudes called him over to roll with me. And this is like 5 weeks since the injury. I'm feeling good. Still hurts. Don't get me wrong. Still hurts. I can't really push off of it, but it's good. It's good enough to roll lightly and just figure things out. But if my foot gets caught in a weird position, I like take it out and I tap real quick. I just go, I don't even want to have my ankle in that type of predicament. So the dude that's instructing the class at the time, he was like, yo, Nikki, who you rolling with? I go, I roll with the guys that I trusted during class. I said, right now, I'm just chilling. It was an odd number. I said, now everyone's got a partner that I'm sitting out for the last 2 rolls a night. I said, I'm letting everybody, no, I'll get somebody from the other side of the room. I go, yo, it's cool. I do the mixed class and the comp class all the time. I roll with higher belts all the time. I go, and I still got to watch my ankle. Yeah. He's like, oh, no. Calls this dude over. Dude walks over. Terminator face the entire time, like just straight Terminator. And I'm looking at him and I just go, man, this is just like not the role that I need right now. Like this, I know how this is gonna go. And the dude comes over and the guy that's instructing the class, he's like, oh, Nikki, this is so and so, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, hey man, and he didn't say anything to me. I'm just like, okay. So he goes, I said, yo, I really have to watch my ankle. Like that is like the most important thing to me because I do not want to be out from the regular gym any longer than I have to be too. This obviously I want to get back to this, but I really want to get back to the gym. Yeah. So the dude, Johnny is the guy that was instructing the class. He's amazing. I love Johnny. So Johnny starts going, oh, you got to watch out for Nick. He's really strong and this and that. I go, John, don't say that. I was like, you're putting things in people's heads.
Antennas go up.
We don't need to tell people these things. Yeah. Like, I'm not going 100%. I'm just going to be feeling him out, this and that. And the dude, we lock up a half guard, and I look at the guy, and I just go, hey, man, I said, I don't think I've had the pleasure of rolling with you. My name's Nick. And he just stared at me. Just looked at me. I'm just going, okay. Yeah. It's going to be a dogfight. Yeah. What is it going to be? I'm like, so either I'm re-injuring this ankle, or I'm not. He's going to re-injure my ankle, or I have to, risk injuring it to make sure that I don't get hurt further. So that's what this is going to be. Yeah. I already said 50 times I don't want to roll, but it doesn't seem like anybody is listening. So I guess I have to actually, buck up a little bit. Okay. So round starts, dude is going ham.
Yeah.
And now, listen, I've rolled with plenty of high upper belts. It's not that I'm amazing at jiu-jitsu. I have an understanding now from almost a year in of just what I can and can't do and what I'm watching for. He's trying to rip moves. I turtle up. I get out of one of his moves. I turtle up, and he starts bouncing me on that ankle. So now I pivot and I throw a knee into him, and I grab the back of his head and I like push him into like my knee shield, and I go, all right, if you're gonna be a fucking dick, I'm gonna be a dick right back to you now. Then he starts doing like the hand over the face type shit. So I'm like pushing his hand out the way. I'm like, yo, don't do that shit. Like we're both getting irritated now. He thought this was gonna be easy, and I'm not making it easy now. So I'm like, okay, so if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, right? So we're going back and forth, back and forth. Tries to rip a Kimura without letting me tap. I grab my own gi like this, and I'm just like, "You're not getting the arm out. Like, it's cool, man. We're good. You're not getting the arm, so you can try as much as you want. I got the kung fu grip, the dead finger grip. Don't worry about it. I can sit here all night." So he lets go, whatever. Now we're going back and forth again, and he goes. Now it's towards the end of the round, and he goes, "Johnny, how much time do I have?" Like, what is this, 80cc finals? Relax, bro. It's not that serious, dude. You are rolling with an injured 3-stripe white belt. Yeah. You are a black belt.
Yeah.
And Johnny goes, 30 seconds or 20 seconds, whatever was left. Now dude goes to rip an arm bar. And I held him off for a while, but there's only so long you can hold somebody off like that. You start getting fatigued and shit like that. So my arm starts slipping out, and I go, yo, bro, you need to chill. And he rips it a little further. I go, yo, chill, I'm not playing with you. And then he really rips it. And I go, yo, you're not fucking listening. I said, chill the fuck out. And I stood up. He's like, oh, what's wrong? He's like, I'm just rolling. I go, no, you're not. I go, you're being a fucking asshole. I said, I told you, watch my ankle. You're bouncing me on my ankle. I go, I don't know what this is. I was like, but that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Johnny was like, oh, what's wrong, Nick? What's up? I said, I'll tell you what's wrong. I said, your boy's a fucking dick. That's the problem. I was like, he's being an asshole, and he tried to injure me. Walk away. You know, everyone's trying to come to console me and talk to me. I was just like, nah, I'm going home. I'm fucking done. I was so mad. I was so angry. Yeah. Luckily, no issues with the ankle, this and that. Then the next day I come there, and from what I understand, from what I was told, there was a misunderstanding. He thought he was coming over to tune me up.
Okay.
Yeah, tune me up, right?
Yeah.
3-stripe white belt.
Yeah.
Injured. Tune me up. Yeah, I'll see you as I rank this belt up. Yeah. I'll see you on the other side of the room. Trust me, man. I don't like that shit. I told Jay about him because I saw Jay was following him, and Jay said Weidman used to have to tune this dude up because he was a fucking dick over there.
Okay.
So I said, so how interesting. How it just, the person that is the dick seems to be trying to dish out the discipline. And oh, really?
Yeah. Trying to make it come around full circle.
Yeah, man. Dude, I was so mad. It took me a couple days of going there before the chip got off my shoulder and I calmed down again. Yeah. But I was there. I had my guard up. And a couple people that know this dude, they were like, oh, Nicky, don't. I said, no. I said, if he even tries to say anything to me, apologies, anything like that, I said, he's going to be just wasting his breath because I don't want to hear it. If that's how you are as a person, when you're supposed to be controlled and chill, if that's how you are, you're going to try to injure a lower belt that's already injured. I got no respect, especially as a black belt. I got no respect for you, bro.
Well, you already see the mentality. So now the ankle's messed up. Now you go see Scott and Nick.
So I go, so I go see Scott. I go see Scott and Nick, and then every time I see Nick, he's just like, hey, man, you ice it? I go,
no.
No. I said, well, does it count when the first time that you worked on it? That was ice, right? I did an ice plunge. That counts, right? Once. So, yeah, he yells at me all the time because he's like, yo, you need to be doing the ankle exercises and this and that. I'm the worst, man.
Yeah.
I really am. I must be Wolverine because the way I bounce back from these injuries my whole life. I mean, I probably tore something in my shoulder years and years and years ago. I was doing shoulders for the second time of the day, threw the dumbbells up. We're doing 90-pound dumbbells. I was military pressing. All of a sudden, my left shoulder locked, and it went all the way back with the dumbbell, the 90-pound. And I just remember I didn't want to drop it on my buddy who wasn't watching, and I just pulled my arm back, and all you heard was ripping in there. It healed up in like a month. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. But all these injuries I've always had, they clear up quick.
So, that runs out eventually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I could.
It ran out for Wolverine, too. Yeah.
I mean, both torn pecs, friggin' torn rotator cuff.
How'd you tear the pecs? Was it benching or weird accident?
No, fucking football.
Yeah.
Football.
Pushing off?
No, so 2016, and this could go into the whole AFib thing. So 2016, we're at practice. We're practicing in the gym. I'm running around in the gym because, we didn't have really good places to practice at. So
Was the spot in Queens?
Yeah. So I'm running. I collide with one of my teammates, and it lifts me up off my feet like I'm airborne. And when I land, so it was my left. When I land on the floor, arm fully extended like that.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, I hit the ground. Boom. So 2 things happened. I hit the ground, and all I remember to this day, when I hit the ground, I felt like my heart exploded. Like I'm like, yo, my like this shit is serious. I get up and I'm like, oh fuck. So I already knew what it is, I'm like, yeah, I did something to my pec. So I get up, I go to the sideline. One of the guys on the team, he had tore his pec like a year or 2 before. And, he was like, oh, what are you doing? What does this feel like? He was like, yeah, he's like, listen, he's like, the true tell is going to be when you go home later on that night. Yeah, he's like, if it's black and blue, he's like, you definitely tore it, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So girlfriend at the time, I call her up. I say, listen, probably going to have to go to the ER. I think I tore my pec. Luckily, 2 things happened, right? Luckily, I did that and didn't go home like the normal typical man would do. Like, yeah, I'm just going to rub some dirt on it. I was going to go home, So I didn't go to my apartment. I went to her apartment. So in the time frame of getting from practice to her apartment, I changed my mind. You know what? I'm going to see the ortho tomorrow anyway. I'm just going to hold it down. Pour me a drink. Let me take some Advil. I'll go to sleep, right? So pour a drink, take some Advil. Probably about 2:30 in the morning, I wake up to pee. I'm in the bathroom. All I remember is looking in the mirror. Oh, shit, it's black and blue.
Bad.
Next thing I know, I'm waking up on the floor. She's screaming, what happened? What's wrong? Waking up. I'm like, how the hell did I get on the floor? Passed right out.
Right when you saw the actual black and blue.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I passed right out. So get up. And again, the typical male spirit or what you want to call we have that makes us stupid at times.
The lizard brain.
I'm like, she's like, we're going to the hospital. I'm like, no, I'm fine. She's like, I just found you passed out on the floor. Like you hit the ground so hard, like it shook the house.
Did you hit your head at all?
No, couldn't believe, and it was a tight bathroom. Couldn't believe I didn't hit my head on the radiator. I just went straight down. So lucky for me, that was 2 things. So I'm like, all right, it convinced me. We go to the hospital, right? So this is 2016. Go to the hospital. They hook me up to whatever, all the machines. And I remember the nurse goes to me. She goes, "Oh, you feel all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, outside, I think I tore my pec. Like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, "You're an AFib." And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, is that why you passed out?
Yeah, the lack of oxygen. Yeah, crazy. So now 2 things happen, right? Glad I didn't go home because if I was home, I would have been by myself. That probably we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. That's one possibility, right? So now, never heard of this stuff, right? I'm a healthy guy. I've been through my entire life. I've had my little nicks and injuries, right?
Yeah.
So, girlfriend starts hysterical crying. She's like, "Oh my God!" Like, wow. I'm like, "The hell's going on?"
Yeah.
So now they explain it to me. So now I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "That's different." So, they're like, "Well, these are the options." It's a common thing, man, but it sounds so scary when you don't know what it's doing. Yeah, so we're gonna, eventually what's gonna happen? You're gonna get put under. We're gonna shock you back into rhythm, and then you
get the rhythm back.
Get your regular sinus rhythm. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So I hadn't eaten anything. So I now, family's coming in because now I'm in the hospital and Kaz is in the hospital. So I come. I remember my mom gets there and she asks me if I'm hungry, and I'm like, not really. So I have like the little bitsiest piece of a bagel. So I eat that. I pass back out. So now practice is always on Thursday night. So we're talking about it's early Friday morning, probably like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, going into a holiday weekend. So anesthesiologist, everybody starts coming to see me because now it's like, all right, we're going to do blood work. We're going to do all this stuff. What's your history? Blah, 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 blah. When's the last time you ate? Oh, I had a little piece of a bagel. Oh, that's it. We can't do anything.
Yeah, we can't do anything.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait. So now...
I mean, from what I understand, that it's the nausea from the anesthesia. Fuck it, make me nauseous. I don't give a shit.
Like, oh, you
fix my heart
up or something, whatever. So that turned into staying in the hospital to get the procedure done to that Tuesday. So now I'm in the hospital, right? So now I'm in the hospital. Luckily,
4 days on top of it.
Yeah. On a holiday weekend, I want to say it was probably. What's the first one that comes up? Labor Day or Memorial Day, right?
Dude, I always fucked up.
No, Memorial Day. Yeah. I think Labor Day's later.
I was about to ask Google.
So, Google knows everything. So, finally, so now I'm sitting in there. So now the process is, all right, I'm going to get this procedure done on Tuesday, right? When all the doctors and everybody's back from their week.
Yeah, everyone's been in the Hamptons.
Yeah, they've been partying, right? So
hungover and shit. Yeah,
so
that's
now,
great.
Now in the interim, I'm sitting there, and this is a funny story, and this is why, you know, I like playing in the league that we play in, because, you know, you get, you know, cops, firefighters, corrections, EMTs, everybody, right? So I'm in this hospital room, and everybody's just worried about my heart. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm in AFib. We know we're in AFib. I'm in AFib. My pec, I tore my pec. Like,
yeah, can we get this fixed?
Give me something for this pain. Give me whatever you can give me. Like, so, you know, right away, because of the AFib, they throw me on the blood thinners. They throw me on the beta blockers, all the heart stuff you're supposed to have. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, but I'm in pain. Like, this shit hurts. So finally, one of the nurses comes up, and she's the head nurse for the floor. So she comes up and we start talking. So she's like, oh, how did you do this? So I'm like, I was at football practice last night. I told her, she's like, oh, well, who do you play for? And I'm like, oh, I play for the correction team, you know, the semi-pro league. She's like, so she chuckles, and I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, my husband's the defensive coordinator for FD&Y. And so I start laughing. I'm like,
so y'all ain't gonna fix this pec.
So I go like this. I go to her. I go, I didn't know his name at the time. I said, tell him number 9. I was like, tell him number 9 is here. So she goes, she comes back. She goes, he says he hopes everything gets better. He get well soon, and you better be on the field for such and such date when we play them. So now I had her in my corner. So now she actually gets a doctor. I get the ortho. I get all these people in.
Isn't that crazy how you just need somebody to advocate for you?
Yeah, or just say a word.
You're trying
right?
to advocate for yourself. They don't listen to you.
Deaf
but like
ears.
the second you have one person in the hospital that's on your side, all of a sudden shit just gets done.
Everything is done. So now everybody comes in. Now they start giving me some stuff, some pain stuff for the pec, whatever. So fast forward, I get the procedure done. Boom, they shock me in out of rhythm. Again, that, what'd you call it? Lizard brain? Lizard brain. Lizard brain sets in. My football season's not over. I'm gonna go back.
It could be the primate brain, but it's like the stupid lizard brain.
So I'm like, my season's not over. I'm coming back and I'm playing. I just had a heart thing done, so whatever. So
let me ask you real quick before you continue it, because I want to hear, what is the recovery like for them shocking you back out? Because they're not just gonna send you back home and like everything is dandy now.
Well, no, they do. Same day, man. Same. So as we get into this, like, because it happened a handful of times. I mean. It's scary that what a normal healthy person wouldn't think it's like a deal. Like me and you, I see you in the office on Tuesday. Hey Nick, hey Kaz, yeah, I'm here to get shocked. You too? Okay, cool. Boom, go home. Friday, hey Nick, you're back again. Kaz, you too? It's shock.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's really like that. Which I didn't know any of this stuff, right? Like I'm. Oh yeah, I broke this. Oh, it'll heal. I don't care if it heals crooked. It'll heal.
Yeah,
like,
organ stuff you never think is gonna happen.
No. So they shock me back. Whatever. I have to wear a heart monitor, external heart monitor, just to monitor everything. But you know, I had a good doctor, good cardiologist, and I said, listen, I'm probably gonna do this anyway. I'm probably gonna go back and play ball anyway. Just what do I need to do? He's like, wear the heart monitor. He's like, do your normal exercises, do this, do that. I'm like, listen, I do yoga, I do insanity, I run, I do karate. I'm like, he's like, do it all. He's like, I want to see what your heart function is like when you're doing these things. So I wore that for about a week. So everything was fine. But now they put me on this medication, man, and it goes into, and I'm sure you've had people on that have talked about, you know.
Thinners and the beta blockers?
The beta blockers drove me crazy.
Really?
Like between that and maybe a combination of the Eliquis, because I was on Eliquis that time. I don't know what well, like one of the blood thinners. I remember because I didn't stay alone. I stayed with her the entire time. And I remember there were times where she was like, yo, you just completely flipped. Like you just like, and I would remember, like I'd be like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you just yelling and screaming at me. And I remember it got to one point, it got so bad, like I called up the cardiologist. I said, and I was crying. I said, if you don't take me off this stuff, I'm gonna kill myself. Like this stuff is fucking with me. And he was like, all right, we'll change the Eliquis. He's like, stop taking the beta blocker. So I went back, saw him. My heart functions were fine. So he took the heart monitor off of me. And I'm like, all right, cool. So this happened in March. We usually kick our football season off for this league in like April. So actually this happened in February. So now we're in March. So now I just got to deal with the pec now. So now the heart stuff is fine. So now I got to deal with the pec. So now the question is, do I go through with the surgery or do I try to rehab it? So I go to this guy in Syosset. His name is Hussein. He precision physical therapy. Lucky for me, he had tore both his pecs.
Damn.
Never had surgery, just PT. So I remember I meet him, I go, and he's like, dude, listen, he's like, I'll fix you. He's like, but it's not gonna be fun. He's like, I'm gonna have to massage that thing. He's like, I'm gonna have to ice and stim it. I'm gonna have to ultrasound it. He's like, you're gonna have to work out on it. He's like, it's probably gonna be worse than having the surgery. I was like, all right, and then again, I didn't want to get cut open anyway. So I'm like, F it, let's do it. So I grinded with him, man, 5-6 days a week for about 3 weeks. Stupidly, I probably went back on the football field sooner than I was supposed to. Our first game that year was up in D.C., and, I was well enough. Like, I was doing push-ups. I was well enough, but I still had pain. But, again, being hard-headed and, lizard brain. And I had just been named team captain. Like, I'm like,
jazzed up.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm playing in this game. Like, I'm going. I never forget. So I go out there, and I'm not sure if he did it before I left or somebody. So, KT tape back in the day, like everybody's like, KT tape saves everything, right? Like it's like duct tape. Duct tape will fix it and hold anything.
Until you got to take it off and this shit rips your skin off. You're like, ah.
So I had it all taped up, right? And the kid that was covering me on the other team, he always covered me every year we played DC. I remember I go to run a route, and I went to plant and come back, and the tape ripped off. And I said, oh shit. It was to the point, like, in the middle of the play, in the middle of the game, he's like, yo, are you all right? And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, yo, I think the tape just ripped off. I'm not telling them I'm hurt, like, then the tee off of me.
Yeah.
So whatever. I think I came out that game. I think I didn't play the rest of that game because basically I had no support, no anything, because it was still basically torn. Come home. I think the following game was against a team that didn't count. I didn't play. So now here comes FDNY. So now I'm ready to get ready for FDNY. Come out that first drive, smoke them down the field. I think I had like 5 catches, leads to a touchdown. Things going crazy. We end up beating them that game. A couple, I think by a couple points, right? So I remember the defensive coordinator comes up to me at the end of the game. He's like, you sure you were hurt, man? He's like, I don't know the way like you went like that. I was like, nah, man, I'm hurt. So I was like, all right, cool. So now I'm getting back in the groove. The following week we play NYPD. And I make like this circus catch on the sideline, catch it, come back, go to the huddle, close the play. I'm like, all right, cool. Go out to run, and I'm running, and I go to run. I'm like, my arm's not moving. I'm like, what the hell? Call the trainer, come out. Oh, you think you got a stinger? So they start working on it. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, it feels better. I go back in. Again,
same side as the pec.
Oh my god, no, it was the other side. It was this side. So
okay.
I go and I'm running. I'm like. Yo, my arm's not moving. Like, something's wrong. Like, I'm like, okay, so halftime, going to the locker room. I'm like, yeah, I did something. I don't know what I did. I did something. We were playing at Aviator. All my family, coworkers, everybody had just got to the game. So I remember I come walking out, cleats on, pants on. All I took off was my shoulder pads and my helmet. I come walking out, and I guess my family, so they were like, something's wrong. I guess we're going to the hospital. So I get out, go to the hospital. I tore my rotator cuff. My season was done after that.
How'd you tear the rotator cuff? Did you get hit?
Honestly, I don't know, man. Still to this day, I don't know. I don't think I got. I caught the ball on the sideline. I never got. I didn't get blasted. Like, if I got blasted, I'd be like, oh, that's what did it. But yeah. I don't know, man. It really, maybe the play before, trying to throw a block or something.
Some of the injuries are so weird. They just occur out of nowhere.
Dude, I couldn't tell you.
Sometimes not even the big hits. It's not even the big hits.
No, the doctor was asking me, he's like, oh, how'd this happen? I'm like, I don't even know. So again, went back to Hussein. He's like, listen, he's like, you're done. He's like, there's no more football this year. I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured that. There's no more football. So, but rehabbed it, got me back. I was good. So now coming off a torn pec, torn rotator cuff, the AFib. So now fast forward, a couple years into it, I think we were playing, I don't know if you shot this game, but we were playing FD on like a cold Friday night. It might have been, I think it might have been the last game you shot for us.
I might have been there.
We threw a pick late, and I tried to tackle the kid, but I'm trying to rip the ball from him. And now I tore this pec. So I tore this pec, and I tore this rotator cuff. So now, as in the middle of the play, I'm trying to take the ball back from him. We both land, and I'm right in front of their bench. I know a ton of guys on their team. So right in front of their bench, I try to rip the ball. We land. I feel it. I'm like, oh. Laid out on the floor. Their trainers come running over to me. I come over. I'm like, I tore my pec. And they were like, how do you know? I'm like, when you tier 1, you know what that feeling's like. So again, go back to Hussein, whatever.
Is that common where if you tear one, the other one usually goes?
Overcompensating, maybe.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, overcompensating.
I wonder if there's like a statistic, like a percentage that they have of
if you tear one.
If you tear one, what's the percentage that you tear the other?
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, dude. Like, and I remember like years ago, I had a hernia. I had hernia surgery on one side, and a couple years later, I had another one on the other side. And the doctor was like, "Yeah, well, it's common, that you get one on one side, you're gonna get one on the other side." I'm like, "Oh, great! Nobody told me that." But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing, man. You tear one, you tear the other. But
no, it doesn't. I mean,
does it say?
It doesn't say. Because I'll tell you why, and then I want you to continue. When I had my first pup, Cookie, a lot of the dogs that get spayed or they get neutered, they lose those natural hormones, obviously, because they don't have their sexual reproductive system performing like they normally would if they had it. They lose the hormones to keep certain tissues and bones healthier throughout their life. So a lot of times when a dog gets spayed or neutered, they'll tear their ACLs.
Oh, wow.
Later in life. Especially if they're a little heavier, like she was heavy. Especially if they're a little heavier, it's much easier. And then once they tear one, the doctor tells you while you're there, the surgeon that did it, he's like, yo, 3 years on the dot, she's going to tear the other one. We're like, what?
That's crazy.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Does the surgery, rehab, everything like that, whatever. Bro,
happened. 3
years to like the month.
That's crazy.
The other tour, where I'm just like,
crazy. That's crazy.
So I would assume that something like that would be I don't know if it's her overcompensating and this and that and just putting all that pressure on that leg and then eventually it wears out.
I mean, honestly, I thought that's what happened when I tore the rotator cuff. I'm like, all right, I was compensating heavy on this side to compensate for the torn pec on the left side. So, whatever. So I walked out of that season with two torn muscles. Well, actually, at that point, that was my third one. I finished the season, obviously stupid me, but I wasn't at 100%. Finished the season.
Lizard brain.
Yeah, lizard brain. And, so I had my first bout with AFib, right? So now here we come. I think last time we sat down and talked was 2020, right? 2020. So then that April, I lost my little sister. My little sister passed away. So what that did to me is screwed me up immensely, right? Sent me into such a deep alcohol. That was my way to cope with everything, right? Alcohol. I mean, it was to the point sometimes, dude, like I was drinking before work. I'd have to turn around and call out. And like, I was too drunk to drive to work. Like I was like, nah, I got to go back home. Like it was crazy. It messed me up. But what people, as I've gone through this stuff, what people don't realize is how some of these diseases and stuff affect your body, right? So now I'm just drinking. Like, I'd probably be lying to you if I said I didn't go maybe 4 or 5 months with having a drink every single day, So, on the outside, I'm fine. Externally, I'm fine. Inside, I'm destroying everything in there. So, fast forward to about,
crazy what alcohol does to you.
Yeah, man.
We're talking about the substance that you were specifically leaning on.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy what it does. I haven't had alcohol in over a year.
I know. I saw that. Congrats, man. That's good. I mean,
I think a lot of people that were, there was like over 1,500 people that fucking saw it and then reached out to me.
Yeah.
Not 1,500 people, but I'd probably say 200-300 people hit me up. They're like, yo, so proud of you, this and that.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't an alcoholic. I just want everyone to know.
No.
I was like, I wasn't an alcoholic. I just decided that it wasn't serving me anymore. And I just didn't want to even fucking deal with it anymore.
I mean, you could say like, I'll say I was an alcoholic. I just was using alcohol to cope, right? Yeah. And this was even a long time after my sister had passed. I had a really good connection with my sister. I was close with my sister, so everybody took it hard. I took it hard, as well, being the only brother, only boy. And it continued long after. And so I say that to say this. So a couple of years after, now I'm in a bad spot. I'm really stressed. I'm really, whatever. Going on a family trip. Halfway into the trip, I get this immense pain in my stomach, right? To the point where I'm keeled over, like somebody was stabbing me in my stomach. Sweating, pouring sweat. Get off the plane, say to my family, like, something's wrong. I gotta go. You gotta take me to the hospital. they know when I say I got to go to the hospital, something's wrong because I'm not going to the hospital, right? I'm not going to the hospital. So go to the hospital. They're asking me.
It's tough when you're international too.
Yeah, and they're asking me if I was involved in any combat sports. They're like, have you been in any combat sports lately? I'm like, and also this is COVID time, right? So now they wouldn't talk to me or touch me until they got my COVID test back. So now it's have you been in any combat sports lately? I'm like, no. I'm like, I haven't played football. I haven't been to karate or Thai. I'm like, no, I haven't. Like, no. So they're like, you have blood clots in your spleen, and I'm like, what? How do I get blood clots in my spleen? So now, of course, I'm over there. So now it's back on the blood thinners, back into a hospital where nobody speaks English. They throw me right in the ICU because obviously, the clots, if they travel, aneurysm and stuff like that. So, so now it's how did you get this? How did this happen? Right. So, the AFib thing came up, but we kind of like pushed that to the side. It had
inclusive.
Yeah, we hadn't had any information. Like everybody, like to this day, I mean, people say, or my doctors, or after that, they say, okay, this is what happened, or that's why that happened. But nobody specifically said after that incident or out there, this is what caused that, right? So I leave over there. I was over there. That entire trip was a wash. By the time I came back, it was time to see all the doctors, right? So now I see all the doctors. I'm seeing a cardiologist. I'm seeing a gastro. I'm seeing a hematologist. I'm seeing all these things. I have my, I'll never forget, my stepmom calls me up and she's like, you have the sickle cell trait, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, if you're dehydrated and you have sickle cell trait and you fly at a high altitude, you're prone, it's called a splenic infarct. You're prone to get blood clots in your spleen. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, that's what makes the most sense. Okay, cool.
You're just trying to search for an answer.
Yeah, like at this point. But now it's almost like 3 months removed, like, because this was a long process. I was out for work for a while. The job wouldn't let me go back to work being on the thinners and everything else I was on.
Yeah, because you can't be in any combat.
Yeah, so now
thinners. My buddy, and I want you to continue. I hate that.
No.
It's funny that you like, not funny, but you say all this because my buddy Gabe, he had an issue with blood clots recently. Mm. He was driving down South Carolina, completely painful in his calf, searing pain, hot. He didn't know what was going on, this and that.
Swole.
Wound up driving back, going to the hospital, blood clots. His mom has them, and it kind of runs in his family.
He's lucky.
And he's lucky he caught it because now he's been on blood thinners, and he's like, dude, I could barely go to I'm barely allowed to go to the gym because he wanted to join jiu-jitsu. And he's like, I can't now because he's like, I'm bruising left and right now. If I take one hit, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go.
We're
going.
So anyway, as you were saying,
we're going to another story about that.
So as you were saying, she mentioned about the spleen.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, that's a possibility of what happened. So still, again, never found a clear-cut answer. So now we go, so now I'm going to the hematologist. I'm going to all these people. So I go see my cardiologist, and I go see a new cardiologist. And he's like, all right, you have the AFib history. I don't think it was AFib. I'm going to put a monitor, an AFib monitor, in under your skin. It's an app process. Like your app will read it. Let's just say you're going, so
a little bar.
Yeah.
My ex had that.
Yeah, right here.
My ex had that. Yeah.
So put it in. He's like, it's just to monitor. He's like, I don't think it was AFib, but we're gonna put it in just to monitor. Okay, cool. So he puts it in. Whatever. I got the app. It's reading. Blah blah blah. Cool. Whatever. So about a year later, now I played football. I got off the blood thinners. They put me on aspirin diet. I got the blood thinners. I play football, whatever. After the football season, I don't know, I was just really stressed. I just had a lot of stuff on my mind, a lot of demons, so drinking heavily again. And I got this monitor in. So I remember it was a Wednesday. No, it was a Thursday. I'm at work. I'm sitting at my desk typing, blah, blah, blah. So now I get a phone call. North Shore's calling my phone. I'm like, all right, what are you calling me for?
Checking in.
So yeah, like they call me, they leave me a message. I listen to the message. They're basically like, oh yeah, your monitor started sending an AFib signal. Can you call us? So I call them. And I'm like, what's going on? So they're like, yeah, yesterday, Wednesday. So it's Thursday. So they're like, yeah, yesterday, Wednesday, your monitor sent off an AFib alert. And I'm like, well, so now I get pissed. I'm like, so you're calling me today, telling me basically I've been in AFib since yesterday. I'm like, I was like, that kind of doesn't make any sense, but okay, what do I do? Okay, just get over here as fast as you can. So I go over there. So now this is my second time being an AFib. So I go over there, start doing all the tests. They put me back on the blood thinners, all this other stuff, schedule an appointment. So now it's the plane ride. It was AFib that probably caused the blood clots in the spleen, right? So now I'm like, all right, I'll give you that. Like maybe I'm 75 to 85%. Like that's probably what did happen. You know, I'm not giving them the full 95, 100 because who knows? So I'm like, all right, cool. So now it's what to do after that. So again, such a common thing. Set a date. Have you eaten anything? Have you did anything? Okay, we're just going to put you under, shock you back into rhythm. Okay, cool. So they shocked me back into rhythm. That was I think it was in July. So now I'm pissed off that it went that long, that they didn't tell me, or it took a day. Like, you know, a lot of stuff could have happened in a day, right?
Scary.
I'm not on a blood thinner. Like, you know, if the AFib, the irregularity of the heart, like creates a clot, like
it jacks your heart rate up.
It's crazy that
Do you feel it?
I never felt it.
Really?
And
because I always feel my heartbeat.
It race up and down, dude.
I always feel. So if I start feeling like it's racing a little bit, I know.
Yeah. But I've had that before, right? Being an athlete and, you know, but like.
Yeah, but even sitting here now, I can feel how it's beating without having to actually like grab my pulse.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I'm just a fucking weirdo. I'm just a fucking weirdo.
Wolverine.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah, man.
I tell how many beats per minute my heart's going.
Yeah, so we
cornball.
But no, you start thinking about stuff like that, dude. Yeah,
it's
so
scary, man.
So I was so pissed off that I went out and, you know, not giving them a plug, but I went out and got an Apple Watch, right? Because Apple has AFib, right? So that happened in July. So now it's January the next year. So fine, I'm doing good. And, you know, now I'm getting into what are the triggers, right? So alcohol is a trigger. Spicy food is a trigger. There's this. I never did it, obviously, because of the work I do, but I had friends that marijuana was a trigger for them. Like, so now you have to energy drinks, coffee.
I take a sip.
You know,
it's okay.
yeah,
Take a sip.
It's only a sip. Coffee, caffeine, triggers. So now I'm sitting at my desk, and, you know, a couple of my partners knew what I was going through, you know. So my one partner, Jay, he's sitting next to me, was sitting there. It's a Sunday, so I'm sitting there typing. All of a sudden, my watch goes. I'm like, he's like, what's that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like,
I never heard that notification.
I'm like, fuck. The watch alerted me that I was an AFib. So he was like, bro, you're sitting here typing. Like, what's going on? So I'm like, the only thing I did differently, and stupid me, I had some food and I had like crushed red pepper and I just went to town on it. And I'm not a spicy guy. I hate spicy food. So I had some real, and I remember eating it and like, this is spicy, man. This is hot. So again,
crazy that's
like,
a trigger.
Like, yo, it's spicy food. And when everything passes down, right, it's all right here. I'm like, that's the only thing I did wrong. Like, I hadn't really been drinking. Like, that's the only thing I did differently. So again, now I'm back in AFib. So now this is my third time in AFib. So now I go, I call the doctor. They're like, all right, you still got all the medication? Yeah, I still got the medication. All right, pop the pill, pop the blood thinner, pop the metoprolol, which, you know, helps control the heart rate, pop all that stuff. So I'm like, all right. I was like, you know what? It's a watch. It could be wrong, you know. So at my office, EMTs just hang out in the parking lot. Ironically, I go out there.
Hook me up.
There's an FDNY truck right there. So go in. I'm like, hey guys, you know, I do such and such, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm an AFib. My watch alerted me to AFib. Can you just check me out? I just want to make sure. They're like, yeah, sure, come in and start talking to me. Cool guys. They hook me up. They're like, yeah, you're an AFib, blah, blah. They're like, all right, so what hospital do you want to go to? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to the hospital. They're like, you're an AFib. We're gonna transport you to the hospital. I'm like,
nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm like, I got my car, I got my gun. I'm like, I'm not going through that whole song and dance. I'm like, I'll call my doctor. I'll put him on speaker. He's like, call my doctor. He's like, yeah, he can drive home. He's fine. I'm like, you know, as long as it's not crazy. I already took the pills. He's like, he could drive home. It's fine. I had to sign some waiver, so they let me go. I drive home. So again, now I get home. Now I call my doctor. Got to schedule this whole thing again. Like, all right.
How long before you call to the appointment to reshock?
Probably within like maybe a day or two. So I probably spent like a day or two in AFib, you know, and you know, it's rough, like, you know, and then now
And what do you feel when you're in it? Nothing? Or is it hard to relax and sit still?
I was feeling nothing, which is what they said was really weird. Like, I never felt the flutters. I never felt any of that stuff that most people feel. But But now again, you know, your mind starts.
You're thinking about it. You're thinking about your heart and your chest that's doing weird shit.
Thinking I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna wake up. Like, you know, you start thinking crazy stuff. Like, there was nights, I think that time I probably didn't sleep for like a day or two, which probably makes it even worse. You know. So again, they go put me under. They shock me. But now this time they're talking about doing a procedure, right? It's called the AFib ablation. So they're like, you know, maybe you should really think about doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm not going to do it. Like, I know my triggers, I'm fine. That was in February. I think like 2 months later, I went back into it again. But then my body got out of it. But then I went right back into it. So now I'm finally like, all right, let's talk about doing this procedure. So basically I did an AFib ablation, which...
So you did it?
Yeah, I ended up doing it. Yeah, okay. So pretty much...
Yeah, what does it entail?
Short and sweet. They go up in the groin, camera. Luckily, I was in AFib when they did it. So they put the camera all the way up. They set me up. I was on a friggin' metal slab, dude, for about maybe 6 hours. So, like, no cushioning, no nothing. And I say that because when I woke up, I felt that metal slab. Like, that was probably worse than everything they did to me. So, go do that. So what they do is they send the camera up there. They shock me back into rhythm, right? But now they have a camera in there, and they're watching what part of the heart is having this electrical malfunction, whatever you want to call it, that's causing the AFib. So they see what part of the heart is causing it, which was whatever, because then I went right back into AFib again. So now, I believe on me, they burned it, but they could either burn out that part of that electrical part of the heart or freeze it. So I think they burned it, monitored me for a while. That was, knock on wood, that was last year in March. And then now here we go again, lizard brain. You know, I was back on the football field a couple months later. But luckily so hopefully that was my last thing, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, everybody has their vices, right? I'm not going to say I'm a saint and I don't drink at all, because I still drink, right? You know, I'm not pounding the drink every single day. I have a drink when I want to have a drink, you know. That's why I said, you know, you go in a year, man, that's great. Everybody has their demons. Everybody has their reasons why. You know, sometimes, I mean, I can't smoke. I can't do any other stuff that, you know, so I'm not saying I would, you know.
I don't smoke.
Yeah.
It was never for me.
Yeah.
And then the more research that you do on random psychosis events that happen when you smoke too much marijuana over a prolonged period of time can happen at any point.
Yeah.
You have a psychotic event, like a psychosis, like deep state psychosis type event. I'm good on that, man.
Yeah.
I got enough fucking problems in my life. I don't need to deal with some shit like that.
Yeah, man.
And truthfully, like when I first moved into my apartment, I was drinking, not a lot, but I was drinking every weekend, and I was smoking here and there with my buddy. Like, he'd come over, we'd walk around the block while I walked Kenji, and we'd smoke something, but I just always felt off afterwards, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. No.
And I feel like a lot of the stuff that I do, even like the gym stuff, the jiu-jitsu, everything, it's not to run away from things, but for the most part, it's been almost like a good crutch, that type of stuff. Because for a long time, my mindset has been much different than what it is now. My mindset's a lot different now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a very positive thing of change, but at the same time, it's scary that I've changed this much in such a quick amount of time. Yeah. Usually, this is a type of a transition you see somebody go through in 5, 6, 10 years. Yeah. They start realizing certain things, and I've found that in a year, I have changed so drastically with mentality, physically, just emotionally. It's kind of shocking at times. So when I gave up, two-pronged reason why I gave up the alcohol, really. The first one was I just always felt off after I drank. I mean, I remember a couple of nights when Tyler and I, my buddy Tyler, we'd go into the village and we'd go sit down, nice dinner, just the two guys just hanging out, just having a good time. Get a couple of Manhattans, this and that, old fashions, whatever. Bro, by the time the entrees came out, I'm like falling asleep. Yeah. Like, dude, I'm so fucking tired. Yeah. I can't do this shit anymore. Then we went to Nashville. Nashville was the same thing, bro. It was 4.5 days of just unhinged drinking. Sun up to sundown. Yeah. No. And I didn't want to do it anymore. And the more research that you see that comes out on what it actually does to you long-term wise, shrinking the gray matter in your brain, just along with the addiction purposes of it, I said, you know what? I gotta get rid of it. So that's the first prong. The second prong reason that I stopped drinking was because I have hemochromatosis.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
It happens to a lot of people that are Irish. Okay. So I have a little bit of Irish in my blood, thanks to my dad's side.
Okay. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Could have done without it.
Yeah.
Could have done without that side of me. But basically, it's when your body stores too much iron. So I have the opposite of anemia.
Okay.
I store too much iron, and then it deposits in your liver and your brain.
Oh, wow.
So you could actually die from it if you catch it too late.
Okay.
And even if you have hemochromatosis and you drink moderate to lightly, you can still develop cirrhosis of the liver pretty easily because the body is just so taxed from dealing with the iron. And now, as of late, my diet's kind of been all over the place lately. I'm not as lean as I was during the summer, which is fine because I'm still 188 right now. So I have plenty of time to like really lean up, tighten up, shred up. Whereas normally I'm like 2 something and I'm like, oh fuck, I got to start now for summer. So I feel really good. My problem is though, now that when I eat red meat, my head starts getting foggy. Yeah. My head gets clouded, and that's the iron. So I don't even know what the fuck to eat anymore. I don't want to go vegan. I don't want to go plant-based. Yeah. I have no interest in doing that. So it's like, okay, so maybe if I eat chicken, I feel fine eating chicken. So I was like, okay, I'll eat chicken. And it's like, well, I can't just eat chicken the rest of my life.
No.
So I can have red meat, but it's got to be super limited now.
What about a nutritionist?
I could maybe I have plenty of people that I could probably talk to.
I think you referred me to people.
Yeah, I have plenty of people I could talk to, but it's just, it's tough, man. It's just another weird little battle that I'm going to have to deal with. Yeah. So I did a phlebotomy, and I hate blood tests. I was really feeling shitty to go and get that done. Let me just be very clear.
That's like me saying I got to go to the hospital.
Dude, for me to go and sit there with my arm and have them drain me out a pint, that I was feeling shitty. And I said, fuck it, let me just give it a shot, because my guy down in Florida, who's the natural medicine guy, for years, I call him the mad scientist. He's been telling me, Nick, you have high iron, you have high ferritin, your brain fog, all these different little things that you're having, you have to go and donate blood. Just get it out of your body. Okay. 2 years go by. I go get a blood test again. Ferritin's still high, but it's 200 points lower than what it was 2 years ago. And I go, oh, that's perfect. I had never donated or anything like that. It's going down, whatever. But then the symptoms were worse than it was 2 years ago. Even though the iron was still lower, I still was feeling so mentally drained and weird. So I just said, you know what? Let me just give it a shot. Let me see. I went. I dumped the blood. A couple of days went by. Felt great. Felt great. I was like, okay. Because what it does is once you get all that out, now your body starts pulling the iron out of your brain, out of your liver, all the stored places to get it back into your blood system.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's a weird thing, man. It's just, we all have, nobody and nothing is perfect. No. Nobody goes through this life. No animal, no person goes through this life without any health issues. It's like when I first found out that Kenji had epilepsy. I was devastated. More so, not because he had the epilepsy, but because I painted the picture in my mind of the perfect dog for months and months and months, and how, when he gets older, we'll have to deal with whatever. And then we have a 2-year-old dog that starts having seizures. You go,
what's wrong?
What is this shit? Like, he's too young to be having these problems. Like, it was almost like I had to battle myself mentally because I put him on this pedestal in front of everybody because he's amazing. I mean, he's my favorite he's my dude, man. I hang out with him all the time. It's weird that he's not here right now. But you know what? Truthfully, it's because I went to class this morning, then I walked him, and then I said, you know what? I just want to leave his ass home because he's got to have some time by himself.
And you too.
and me, because that's what it gets. You start getting drained. It's only so many times I could tell him to stop licking the grass. But anyway, so I painted this perfect picture, especially on Instagram and online, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have done this as well with things in their life, their own life, whatever it might be. You paint this perfect picture of everything, and it's really not like that in real life. And instead of accepting that it's not like that, and accepting that the universe and where you are and what you're doing and the struggles that you have to deal with and overcome, instead of accepting that everything is how it should be and I'm battling the battles that I need to battle for a reason, you fight it for a long time. And when you fight it, it doesn't help anything. It's just a denial stage of a way that you need to just keep pushing away from you. And realistically, what you have to do is you have to kind of, as fucked up as it is, you have to embrace it. You have to say, okay, well, in your situation, this is something that I have to know the signs. I had to confront my demons, and I had to get the surgery done with the hemochromatosis. first off, I didn't want to drink alcohol anyway, and now I can't anyway.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I can't really have as much red meat. I love steak. I love red meat. So it's like, okay, so now I guess I got to figure out a new way to eat. I mean, it's weird for me, man. Like now I come home from jiu-jitsu, I'm starving, and I just look around, I go, normally I'd have like steak and rice, but okay, I guess I'll just have yogurt or something.
Just gotta adapt to it, man.
Yeah, it's an adaptation period. And it's the same thing with Kenji. It's the same thing with him. You adapt to it. You use the medicines that you have to use to get everything in check and make sure that he's healthy and as healthy as can be.
Yeah.
And I've said this to the breeder. I've said this to a lot of different people, and it hurts to say it, but whether I have a year with him left, whether I have 15 years, you just gotta take every single day and enjoy it.
Yeah, man. That's going back to the alcohol thing, it's funny because I forgot who told me, but somebody was like, they said, look at it like this, right? Like, when you start drinking? I'm like, probably 17, 18, start drinking, right? He's like, all right, so 17, 18, start drinking. He's like, in your 40s now. He's like, think of all the damage that drinking has done to your body over time. And when he said that to me, I was like, wow. I was like, that's crazy. And, especially to the point where it was like, this is causing some major issues that I probably don't even really know what's underlying. You know what I'm saying? So, I got that under control. It was, hopefully the AFib thing is pretty much a wrap. That's not guaranteed either, but I took a step to correct that, and that was that. So now we're here, and still playing
ball. Still playing ball.
These guys mess with me all year. I'm like, this is it. They're like, yeah, you've been saying that for the last like 10 years, man. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if it's a cool thing saying you're the oldest person on the team, though. And it gets even worse, right? So last year we're playing NYPD, right? So we're playing NYPD. I believe it was a Friday night game. So we're playing NYPD's Friday night game. So I play receiver. So I'm lined up on the NYPD side, right? And again, I know a lot of guys on that team. I went to college with some of those guys. So I'm lined up on their side. And one of the guys, he's actually my partner now in the unit I'm in. He yells out, he's like, don't let this old man beat you. But now the irony of it is the guy across from me goes, I'm older than him. So I'm like, all right. So I run my route, I come back. I'm like, how old are you, man? He's like, I'm 46. And I was like, all right, you are older than me. I'm like, bro, what are we doing? He's like, I love this, man. He's like, I love being out here. He's like, I love the guys. I love the camaraderie. He's like, I'll play if I'm 50 if I can. He's like, I love this. He's like, I don't know, and what'd he say to me? I don't know, and I don't want to know what life would be like outside of doing this. And I said, wow. I was like, and something he needed. I'm done. I'm not. This is my last year, man. I'm done.
Now on the flip side, think about a professional athlete, real professional athlete, and when the curtain call is coming, for them to actually close their career out, and you playing at a semi-pro amateur type league, how hard it is for you to hang it up.
Yeah.
Think about how hard it is for them to hang it up. This is all they've known.
Yeah.
They've been in the game, in the league since their late teens, early 20s, and this is their life. This not only is their livelihood, take money, take all that stuff out of it, and this is all that they know on a daily basis is off-season, on-season, off-season, on-season, prepping, feeling, camaraderie, the teamwork, what's our schedule like? Oh, who we playing? Oh, we're going for the chip this year. That's all they know. And then all of a sudden, sitting in your living room by yourself,
it's not just that. It's like it's like, let's say cops, firefighters, right? Like, correction officers, like EMTs, like you do something for so long, right? Like, so most of us are in 20-year careers, right? Like I'm in my 17th year. I got 3 years left. 3 years, like I have a norm. I'm up early. I go to work 4 or 5 days a week. Now, what do you do when that's over? Like I just did this same thing for 20 years, right? Now it's like you're shell shocked. Like, all right, like, most people bounce back right into something new. Like,
I think the habit building that you formed over this time that you've, really crystallized in your brain. Yeah. I think that helps you though to keep doing the things that you do, and now you just have to find the different path of what you were going to do work wise.
Yeah. I mean,
because you're going to keep training, you're going to keep doing your damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, And, you know, even like doing security, like I did security for years, man. And then it's like, you know, I talk to people, they're like, oh, you're going to do security after? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to. I mean, I might. I mean, I got a couple guys that I hooked up with that, you know, they asked me, when you retiring, man? He's like, we could throw you right into this role. We could throw, and the money's good. They make good money. They do a lot of stuff. That's cool. But
do you want to keep putting yourself out there like that?
I just like even today, like being off today, right? Like so refreshing, man. Like I was off today. I got up. I went to the gym. I went to yoga. Came here to see you. I'm gonna go see Scott. Like it's just I got practice later. Like I'm just like, wow, man, this is so refreshing. But again, you know,
it's a nice change up and stepping in the path.
Yeah, and I'm not even in a bad, like I'm not work wise. I'm not even in a bad place. You know, I'm not in jail every day like I used to be. You know, 10 years ago. Like, you know, so. But even with saying that, like it's refreshing to not be at work, right?
Yeah. That's how I've been.
Yeah.
You kind of talked about it briefly when you first got here.
Yeah.
Just along with the different headspace. I've read too many stories about people making careers and not making lives for themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get stuck in that. So I'm trying to change things in my early 30s while I still have a lot of control over it.
Mm-hmm.
My work has been interesting lately.
Yeah.
It's been a little slower than it normally is, but I think this is the universe sending me the sign. And it has been slow because I don't have clients. I have clients. I have a lot of retainer work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once I'm done with the work for the month, it's just sometimes it's a little slow.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you go, what should I do? But instead of sitting there saying, what should I do? I've learned to embrace being quiet and accepting the low points, because for so long it was like, what plane am I getting on? What video am I shooting? Who needs this edit? Blah, blah, blah. Does that? Oh, we got a podcast on Wednesday. Oh, but I still have to get all those edits out. And I just was so frazzled. And earlier in our conversation, you had mentioned that you feel like so drained sometimes.
Yeah.
It's too much stimuli.
Yeah.
That's what it really is.
Yeah.
From the second that, and I've been preaching this to a lot of my close friends now, and anybody that's listening, I hope that you guys take this and learn from it and actually digest it and use it. For so long, we've just accepted the societal norms of just having these little anxiety boxes on go from sunup to sundown and past from sundown. And what that means is not only has everybody that you know that has your number had access to you whenever they want, which isn't okay, but we have all of the entertainment in the world at our fingertips.
Yeah.
We've got porn.
Yeah.
We've got Netflix. We've got games. We've got social media of just infinite scrolling. And it's just a fucking waste of time is what it is. Yeah. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. It's destroyed. I mean, dude, I remember you're going back. I don't think I had my first cell phone until probably 2000 and maybe 2004. And I only got one because the girl I was dating, she's like, yeah, I'm not going to keep calling your grandmother's house, you know, but all I had was a landline if I wasn't there. But it was so free. It was pure. Like, you know, these things ruined everything.
No, they ruined it. And I will, however, go a step further. And I will say that it's not the phone that ruined it. It's the applications that we've allowed to be installed on the phones that are the distraction. Because if we delete all the apps off the phone and we delete off everything and we just have a phone, FaceTime for an iPhone, and iMessage, whatever your messaging app is, that's all you're going to do on it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, so like 2 Sundays ago, I went to IMC in town, okay. And I intentionally left my main line home because I do generally on the weekends now anyway. But I left my main line home. I took my personal phone, which doesn't have any social media on it. My mom, a couple people have that phone number. And I put that face down on the table in case anybody called me, because they know if you need me, call me on that line. And I just took in my surroundings.
Yeah.
And I found it very crazy that people were looking at me like I was weird because I was not only sitting alone enjoying a meal, but I wasn't on my phone. And I'm not going to lie, I felt weird for a little while.
Yeah.
I felt weird to like look around and just like take everything in. It's like, okay, well, I've looked at that picture 4 times now.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. But it's okay. Sit there and be bored.
Yeah.
It's okay. Wait for your food. Be present. Look around. Look people in the eye. Sit like that. We've allowed these things to just fill every second of our day that isn't go, 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 even when we are go, go, go. I mean, I used to laugh and joke about how I was the best text and driver. It's not something to be fucking proud of, bro.
Not at all.
It's not something to be proud of. So I'm not proud of that anymore, man.
Yeah.
It's just I have to be focused, man.
Yeah.
And it's just the constant dinging, the constant buzzing, the phantom buzzes where you think that the phone actually went off in your pocket and it didn't actually do anything. It's weird, man, how they control us. And
I turn all that stuff off, bro.
I turn off all the notifications as well. But once you start realizing that you are not the customer for these sites, the advertisers are. You're the product.
Yeah.
Then it becomes weird.
That's
Then it becomes weird when you start thinking about it like that.
That's different. Yeah.
I mean, even my buddy Tyler, he came over Saturday, and our St. Patrick's Day was we went and got pedicures.
Oh, listen.
And listen, man. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. You got to keep the feet clean, man.
You still got the, was it the nutter butter?
No, I don't have any of the.
I still have that in my cabinet. Nut butter, yeah.
Man.
I still have that.
That stuff is great, man. I think they went under. I have to check. That was fucking awesome. Tame the Beast nut butter.
Oh, man.
We were so close to getting a deal with them, too. Oh, me and Panetti. I was so mad when that COVID hit and then they pulled any funding that they were going to give us. They were going to pay us a good amount per episode. Like, we were getting excited.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But, we went and got pedicures. We went and got food, and then we chilled. But when we were chilling, he was on his phone just scrolling through stories on Instagram. I said, "Yo, dog." I said, "Get the fuck off the phone."
Yeah, let's hang out.
I said, "Yo, let me explain something to you." I said, "It's devil's advocate because I have to create. My job is to create videos for clients, and most of it's for social. So I get it. But I said you can still be a content producer and not a consumer." Which basically means that I can put things out there but not have to consume any content from anybody. Yeah. People ask me all the time, "Yo, did you see my story?" No, I didn't. Yeah. I don't watch anybody's stories anymore. Yeah. Notifications are off. I go on, I post, and I dip. It's not because I don't love y'all. It's not because I don't want to watch what you guys have going on. I'm tired of third-partying other people's lives. It's weird. When you think about it, like I used to document my entire fucking day. Yeah. My entire day. Every 4 seconds, there was a story up about something that was going on. Yeah. And when you think about people that are watching that, or you're watching somebody else do that, you're just like, why am I watching this all day? Yeah. And just sitting there like this. Yeah. Just hitting next.
Or watching the person that put up like 16 or 17 on
Guilty.
Thursday, and you're just like,
guilty.
But you're sitting there like, oh man, what do they do next? What do they do next?
Who gives a fuck? Who cares? I got to live my own life.
You know, it's funny, and I always make it, if I'm out with my lady, like it's like, you see couples out, right? This used to kill me, right? You see the couples out, so like me and you out, and we're both like this.
I got both out.
We're both like this. We're both like this. And I've gotten into issues where sometimes, and I look at it differently, right? So my lady, she'd be like, "Where's your phone? I haven't seen your phone all weekend. Or I haven't seen your phone." But why do I need to be on my phone if I'm with you? Like,
you're the only person I'm worried about calling.
Yeah. So why? Yeah. So why do I need That's our society, right? We're too engaged in the phones, right? Like, your phone's not out. Like, and I'll sit down like, hey, look at these two at the dinner table, right? Like, they haven't said one word to each other, but they've been on their phone the entire time.
We're the most connected, disconnected society in history. Yeah. It's troubling.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had at one point I had Facebook, and I think I deleted my Facebook one. I have the Instagram.
I'm close to deleting my Facebook. Yeah. Very close to deleting my Facebook.
Yeah, I did.
My mom, I told my mom that, and she just goes, "Oh." And I go, "Oh, what? What the fuck?" She goes, "Oh, well, I like wishing you a happy birthday." I go, "Wish me happy birthday in real life. Fuck that place. It's a fake digital world." Yeah. When I joined OG, the gym I go to in the mornings, which I'd love for you to come one day. Okay. Come through. You'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very intense. It's right up your alley. You'd love it. When I went there, a couple of the hot girls that like really smoke show chicks that go there, they followed me. Okay. Because Evan, shout out to Evan, he's one of the owners. He's dope. He's been on the pod as well. Taylor is the other owner. He's been on the pod as well. They would shout me out, and girls they follow you, so I'd follow them back. I would intentionally, when I saw them in class the next time, I intentionally like try to look at them like this and just wait for them to like look over at me and just go, "Hey, good morning." Wouldn't do it. Yeah. You'll third party my entire life on social.
But you won't say anything.
But you won't actually talk to me in person? Yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it. I removed them as followers. I unfollowed them. I'm like, I don't do fake digital relationships. That's not real.
But that's society.
Yeah, I'm good on it. Y'all can have that trait. I'm not gonna pony that trait up on what my life is gonna be. My life is gonna be real shit. Yeah. Sitting down, being able to have eye contact, talk, have a conversation, hang with your boys, but tell your boys when it's too much, like, "Yo, put the fucking phones away."
Yeah.
Chill out. See, like, I turn this phone off at night.
Yeah.
The only time I turn it on is I know that somebody doesn't have that number that I know is going to message me.
Okay.
I'll turn it back on for a few, but then once I'm done, it's off. I text my mom. Usually right before jiu-jitsu, I text her. I go, I'm on the personal line. I'm turning the other one. Don't hit the other one up because there won't be any answer.
Yeah, nah, man. I got to turn both my phones on now. I'm getting to the point of the last couple of days I've been sleeping through my alarm, so
oh shit,
I got to turn both my phones on.
Well, truthfully, you wear the Apple Watch to bed too?
No, I don't wear it to bed. I feel like that's weird.
It is weird, but because you're just constantly connected, we go back to just constantly digital stimuli on you all day, all night.
And if you really pay attention to this Apple Watch, like the sensor on it, like I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like,
well, the thing with wearing it to bed, which I don't really advocate for it, but if you're having trouble waking up, it has it'll tap your wrist.
Yeah, it does.
With the alarm, and that wakes you to fuck up.
When I have set my alarm and I have the watch on, I'll be like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah,
but,
I want to get rid of my Apple Watch. I have an Apple Watch because of this phone. I want to get rid of it. I'm trying to break it. So I'm trying to break out of the cycle of being in the monopoly of each company. I want to be able to that's why I got the Android. This is the new Samsung. It's fucking it's dope.
Yeah.
It's really dope. It's really awesome. I also had Android years ago and I loved it.
Me too.
And everyone bullies you into getting an iPhone and then you look at this thing, you're like, what is this thing? It's like, it doesn't even do anything that this does.
I mean, I make fun of my friends that have Samsung just to make fun of them. But,
you're just like, oh, green bubbles.
Green, but I had I'm going to tell you, the only reason why I had a Samsung, I had it for years and I loved everything about the Samsung. And I don't know, I was at work one morning and I was doing something in my trunk. I forgot the phone was right there on the trunk. I went to walk, I was like, oh. And at the time, they didn't have that Samsung, but I needed a phone because my phone was destroyed.
They have Samsung Care?
Yeah, they whatever. I just couldn't get another one. And then my buddy, who I go to all the time, I've gone to him for all my phones. Shout out to Mike at Nikon.
Hey now.
So he was like, I got an Apple phone. I was like, iPhone. I was like, oh.
All right. But then you got stuck in the ecosystem. That's what happened, man.
And I get into it, and then it's like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, they sync your claws in, iMessage, FaceTime.
Yeah, but then I'm going to tell you what I started. Then it was like, all right, well, what other products do you have with Apple? Oh, you got an iPad, or you have a Mac, or you have this. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, and it's dinging on this, and then I got a message dinging on that. I'm like,
I hate it, dude.
Yeah, I'm like.
Because I turned this phone off, and I still get messages on my iPad.
Yeah.
And I still get messages on my Mac. So it's like, if those, and my watch, that's docked and not even on. But you still hear the dings.
I disconnected everything from my watch because I constantly hated I don't know what, but all of a sudden my emails come through on my watch. I never did that, so I don't know if it
phone calls too.
Yeah, phone calls, and this is a line, but I mean I disabled it sometimes where if I don't want to be bothered, I just won't wear it, man. I mean, I got this for a sole purpose, right? Just to monitor the AFib and whatever else. And that's even obsolete now because the new one takes blood pressure and all this other crap. So, and that's the other problem with all these toys is that they're always evolving, right? So the next phone is always going to do something that your phone doesn't. I think I have an 11. What are we up to now? 15, 16?
So this is the 15 Pro. I had a 14 Pro. So before... There's like the new aluminum Mac, whatever the fuck they make it out of. I don't even know what they make it out of anymore. I don't even care. Titanium.
Yeah. Okay.
Titanium. I had a 14 that I was paying monthly for through Verizon, and then I decided, out of nowhere, I said, you know what? I want to get the Pro. I want to get the smaller one. I'm tired of these big ass phones in my pocket, heating my nutsack up. I said, let me just get. Let me get the smaller one. I got the smaller one. The battery life was such dog shit on it. I upgraded. Got the 15 Pro, not the Max. Hated it, returned it, got the Max, and then I'm like, I'm back to the same fucking phone. I just bought a phone that I didn't even need.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there, and then I started having the gripes about needing a second phone.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have just gotten the second phone.
Yeah.
Kept paying the $10 a month for the first 14 Pro that I had a deal on, but now I'm paying $60 a month for this fucking thing. I don't even need it.
Circle.
So truthfully, I'm gonna break out of the ecosystem as much as I can. Obviously, Mac I like to edit on. I like to do all that stuff. iPad. I don't even know why I have an iPad. I don't even need one. I don't need.
You know what I use my iPad for now?
What?
I run music from my iPad to my my speaker.
Okay, for home gym.
Yeah, just for anything. Just if I'm out, if I'm away, if I'm at work, because I don't like having my phone linked to it because then if I'm listening to a song and then somebody's calling me, the song goes off. I like to have my, but that's what I use my iPad
expensive.
for.
That's an expensive device to.
Yeah, just to play some music. Yeah, iTunes. That's all I use it for. iTunes, but it's crazy, man.
That's how they get you, bro. They sink the claws in, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and
Garmin. I'm gonna get a Garmin watch for the next one.
my buddy has that, and you know what? I was so close to getting that because he has it has the feature that I believe if your heart stops, it alerts 911.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's his Garmin watch. Yeah,
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's one of his features. Expensive watch too, but I mean, I went Apple because everything else is Apple. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his Garmin watch that does that. That has that feature.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah,
I believe you.
I think it gives like your location of the watch, like where you're at, like, and it alerts medical personnel.
Compatible Garmin watches can notify you when your heart rate goes above or below a specific level. If you are inactive for a minimum of 10 minutes and your heart rate goes above or below your set threshold, you will get an alert on your watch. Abnormal heart rate, they call that. Abnormal heart rate detection alerts. And I guess then there's a trigger that if it's that long, it'll send out to EMS.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, but that's all phones, right? Because now, if you do your phone, whatever, your medical ID, unfortunately, I got all that shit on my phone.
I did too. I didn't even know my blood. I mean, until I donated, I totally didn't even realize my blood type until I donated.
Yeah.
And they told me.
And then you could put all that stuff. See, but now, like, even like being in the law enforcement field, right? Like, that's one of the first things, like, you do. Like, if I came in and you were in distress, like, I'll pick up your phone. Like, let me see what his medical. Oh, he has this, he has that.
Do they train you guys on that to check for that, or is it
I mean, it's common knowledge now. With the times. I mean, and just from my knowledge of what is in my phone, right? Like, my medical history is in my phone. Like, who to call? Yeah, who to call? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's Kenji's fat ass face. Yeah.
Yeah. Who to call? What's wrong with you? Blood type, AFib.
No, I'm not an organ donor. Leave me alone. Yeah. Don't take them.
Jeez, I don't think I am either. No, I thought I was an organ.
Make sure that's out. Make sure that's off. Otherwise, they're going to try to harvest shit.
Yeah, man.
They be getting mad snippy. Get that shit away from me. Leave my organs.
Yeah, man. But you're correct, man. The phones, man. Like this is crazy. I mean, and it takes away from like just normal, like refreshing, right? Like sitting here talking to you for an hour and a half, man. Like
feels like nothing.
When's the last? Like, and we didn't even talk about half the stuff we said we were going to talk about before. Like,
we'll do another episode.
We're just sitting here. Yeah, we're just sitting here talking.
Come back next month. It's easy. It's down the block from my house. We'll hang out.
But it's refreshing, man. Like, how many times can you say and sit? Yeah, we sat and we just chopped it up for an hour and a half, man. Just talking. Like,
so truthfully, I've always been a nerd. Not even a secret nerd. I've just been I'm nerdy. So my cousin got me into Magic the Gathering, the card game.
I was going to say, is that a
card game?
Okay.
Yeah. And they release sets every couple of months, and you build your own commander decks, and you have one guy that's your commander, and then you build a deck around his strategy. And there's tons and tons of cards. So like the possibilities are endless, actually endless.
Yeah.
And we have a play group that we have about like 4 to 6 guys that we get together. We try to get together every weekend and we play.
Okay.
It's some of the most refreshing time because it doesn't require anything digital in your face. It's just everyone just hanging out, playing cards, laughing, fucking with each other, this and that, and just being present. And although some people may look at that and be like, oh, it's so nerdy, isn't that? It's like, nah, because you got to like actually try it to understand it.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't like the game, but then do something different. Maybe play a board game that you like. Maybe do a different type of card game. There's tons of trading card games.
Yeah.
Maybe you like Pokemon. Maybe you like Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't look at it as a childlike game. Look at it as a way for us to get away from the grip of digitalism or whatever you want to call it that has its chokehold on us for so long.
Yeah.
I listened to the book Digital Minimalism. Anybody that listens to the podcast regularly, they're going to be tired of hearing about it, but I'm going to keep saying it until y'all go listen to it. Unbelievable book.
Okay.
Cal Newport, unbelievable book. I bought his other book, Deep Work, because I was so interested in him as a writer and how much great, useful information he had to say about all the stuff that we deal with the phones and just in general, and stepping away and living a more simple life. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Living a more simple, purposeful, meaningful life.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the people from Rain in the UK. If she listens to the podcast, she'll know who she is. Love her. She's fucking awesome. Rock star. She's one of the head people out there. And she was just talking to me about like all the stressors of just like, she's walking through her dogs through the forest for her lunch break, but she still has to bring the phone with her and she still has to do that. Leave it at home.
Yeah.
Don't bring headphones. Be present in nature. It's amazing how giving your brain that reset of like nothing on. There's so many nights lately that I just don't have the TV on. I just sit in silence.
Dude, speaking of that, right? Like I get into a realm of driving home from work, right? I mean, stressful job, whatever, but driving home, sometimes driving to work, silence.
Yes.
Silence.
Dude, every time I got in my car up until I started having these revelation feelings, like type of like you need to just control what is going on in your brain. Not only have I gotten rid of a lot of music that I just don't agree with mentally, because it's everything affects you. Even if you're like sitting there, oh, the beat's dope, but you start listening to the lyrics, you go,
What's he talking about?
oh, I don't love this.
Yeah.
Like the Carnival, that Kanye song.
Yeah.
Great beat.
Yeah.
I love the the chant, but then you start getting into the lyrics, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm good. I can't do it anymore. Like I'm good on it. But I would constantly have an audiobook. I'd constantly have a podcast. The second I wake up,
listening to it.
Get in the car, audiobooks back on, podcast is back on, YouTube videos, texting people. There's a you don't chill.
Yeah.
Like you really don't chill.
Yeah.
We think that this is some of the stuff that we do is chilling. It's not. Yeah. It's not. And the unfortunate truth about that is it's just our brain getting racked up even further. You take a week or 2 weeks of just more lower stimuli, not just doom scrolling, being very intentional, reading, chilling out, like just listening to the surroundings. Is that you'll be shocked at how much more not only mellow you feel, but just rested.
Yeah, relaxed, dude.
Yeah, you just feel rested.
You're relaxed, yeah.
I can't, I talk to my mom about this every day. I go, I can't believe how I'm so chill right now.
Yeah.
I'm even when I'm making a ton of loot, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not making loot, I'm stressed. Yeah. All ends of the coin. There's always something that's like racking my brain. I'm stressed about. Lately, I'm not stressed.
I gotta get back to that, man, because that's such a like I just posted something about silence. Ironically, I think last night, and it's just like sometimes like silence is like it's the best thing in the world, man.
Yep.
Like and again, like you get to hear stuff, you get to pay attention. Like I drive home sometimes, and I'm working in Brooklyn. I'm driving to Long Island. That's sometimes an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute ride, and it's just if I don't have anything on, man. I'm going in my brain. I did this. Or I did that. You know what? Tomorrow I did this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do that. That's what that happened on that day. That was pretty cool. Like, oh, she's doing this. She's going. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should offer this advice to her, or my partner's going to do that. You know what? Maybe I should tell him this. Like, but no radio, no phone, no anything, man. Sometimes it's, that's why I like yoga so much, man. I get into that hot room, dude. It's like. There's nothing to do but just sit there and just kind of meditate and just listen to the instructor, and like my brain is just kind of shut off. Like
I got to go to your spot. I got to try your spot out.
I bounce around, man, because and that's another thing that evolves, right? Like back in the day, it was just that one type of yoga, but now you have
yin,
yin is great, man.
Yeah.
Yin. Meditation, but you have the hot, you have the Pilates, you have the disco inferno. Like there's so many sub variations. Like
50, is that you? You the instructor?
So listen, like I go through, I cycle between 4. I go Hot Yoga Merrick, Hot Yoga Car Place, my home spot, RVC. It's not because like I'm rich and I have memberships to all these places. It's just like at the time frame where I want to go, who has the regular 60 or 90-minute class that I'm just going to go and stretch and just be present in that moment. So I got to bounce around. Like today, I did a 10 o'clock in Carl Place because there's really no other place that had a regular 60-minute around, and then like tomorrow it's different. Like tomorrow, again.
It also changes it up for you, so it's not the same monotonous shit.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. You have to get out of the monotonous rhythm, although it's good to have a schedule and it's really good to stick to it.
I'm a schedule,
but if you see the same shit over and over again, or that same route home from work, or that you start to actually feel like, oh, like what day is it? I've had that plenty of times where you look around and you just go, what did I do on Monday? Every day feels the same. Yeah.
See, that's the best thing about, the unit I'm in from at work now, without getting into it. It's like every day is different, dude. Like every day is like, and I learn something new every day. Like it's amazing. Like, when I was in my old unit, when I was in the investigations, I pretty much knew what my day could be, right? It could be, I got to go out on this. I'm either going out on an arrest, I'm going out on a death case, I'm going out on whatever kind of complaint. Like it was only maybe 5 different things I can do, right? Or I was just sitting at my desk all day. Like now what I do is it's kind of like no day is the same unless it's a day where we have nothing going on. We're just all in the office. And even all being in office, right? Like one day me and you can be in office, and the next day me and him will be in office, and then me and him are going to do this workout, but me and you are going to do this workout. So every day is different, and I like that. But it's just got to the point where like I got to, and like you said, now I think about it, like bouncing around, it is good for you. I go to different places, different yoga spots, but I love it, man. The guys on the team, they make fun of me. They call me, Mr. Hot Yoga, but it's one of those things that helps ground me though. Like and
you need those in your life.
Oh man, listen, and
without them, it's just, life is tough.
Even, like jits, like, I've been in martial arts for years. Like, that's what a Thai class for me is, right? Like that's my, not an angry person. I'm not, I can be violent if I need to be, but like, it's just good to get, that's just a way to get some things out, man.
So I told my mom too, when I was talking about just being more calm, and she just goes, you need that release.
Yeah.
You really do. And I started there, and it's such a different feeling now, almost a year later than when I started there, because that release of constantly going, like I wasn't going to go tonight, I'm going to go tonight.
Yeah.
Like I was just, I'm obsessed. My ears are changing. My ears are changing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I never thought, I always wanted to do jiu-jitsu. I just never pulled the trigger. I was always afraid of being judged when I was younger, especially just like going there and being judged. Like this way before I was kind of comfortable with me as a whole. And then that's why when last year I just decided to stop doing the bodybuilding shit, do the HIIT classes. I said, all right, let me try jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah.
Fuck it, why not? And I committed for a year at Sarah's. I said, if I don't like it, I'll never go again after the year. And I'm hooked. That's it.
Camaraderie and just
it's cool, man.
Limited.
That one dude with the story, that's like a one-off. That's like that. You get that at every gym. I got that in the bodybuilding world too. You get the fucking dicks and
that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't on the flip side of that, but that's Gareth, man. I met Gareth and like, all right, we're gonna do some light sparring, and here he comes 1,000 miles an hour. Gareth. But but that's my boy. But he's the flip side.
I love Gareth, but that dude is different.
Yeah. Like, but it's you come across those guys, good and bad, but that's the experience, right? Look, from that one time, and I met Gareth in a jits class, right? I think I told you this. Like we were, I was in a no-gi, and obviously he at that time he might have been a purple. And the dude guillotine choked me 3 times in a row. And then I'm like, all right, I'm like, dude, I'm not the best on the ground, but I know I don't suck. Like, what's going on? And he took time to tell me and start talking to me. And then once I corrected that, then he put me in armbar.
Yeah.
But then after that, like we hooked up, and then, then I had to get him standing up because I knew I got him standing up. You know what I'm saying? But then we became good friends. But again, it's like, hey, G, you want to spar? Yeah. G, we're going to go light. And it's like, I just got punched in the face 10 times. And it's like, all right, G, I guess we're not going light. I guess we're going to go 1,000 miles an hour. But, he's a rarity. He's one of those guys, big heart.
Big heart, man. He's the homie.
But you get guys like that, man, right? And there's always one or two.
And at the same time, listen, man, it's a gym, and it's a physical activity with another, especially
men.
There's not too many females there, but men.
Yeah.
And fortunately and unfortunately, we have we have the testosterone flowing through our veins, and we have, even though you do tap early and tap often, we still have that ego where sometimes we just go, oh, I'm not letting him tap me. No shot.
Yeah.
Then you have to almost bring yourself back to zero and go, no, chill out.
Yeah.
I know you got to go soon. I know. I don't want to. I don't want to keep you.
Yeah, I got to go see Scott.
We're gonna do another episode.
Yeah.
If you whenever you want, dude. I just love hanging out and just chopping it up.
Yeah, talking, man. It was good. It's good to talk, man.
I appreciate you, Kaz. You're the man.
Always, man.
Maybe in the next day or so we'll
figure it out.
I'll post this, and then we'll figure out when you come back down.
Yeah.
Truthfully, whenever.
Yeah, and man, I'm happy for you, man. The jits, man. Like following some people's stories is good, though, right? Like, because I've watched your evolution, right? And just the journey of like even your body type, man. Like you're jacked up, you're ripped up now, and you can see in your pictures that you post, like the genuine, like how happy you are, like and that's dope, man. And
it feels good.
And then, like I said, the alcohol thing, I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's even doper. Like, you got on this, like, and then you keep it up. Like, soon you're going to be the black belt, beating up on the white belts,
Nobody. Dude, I'm too nice when I roll, man. I tell people, dude, I'll end on this. I roll with people, man. And I know I have strength. I know I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys don't have that. Yeah. So like even dudes that are more advanced than me, sometimes I can really muscle through shit and they're not able to get me in certain things because I'm able to like rely on my strength and not be so technical. But dude, I put people in some really not great positions.
Yeah.
And the second they make a noise, I pull off and I go, yo, we good? We good?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're fine. They look at me weird.
They're not used to that.
I go, it's cool. I just want to make sure we're okay. I don't. Or if I'm about to roll a certain way and I feel an ankle or I feel a knee in a bad position, I go, yo, just move your knee because I'm gonna roll and I don't want to fuck.
Not everybody.
I don't want to rip that shit. And they're just like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, no problem. And then you roll them, and then they knew it was coming, so now they flip right over on you. You're like, fuck, man. Maybe I should be an asshole.
Not everybody's like that, but cool, man. Always a pleasure, my brother.
Kaz, I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys love the episode. Kaz, I know you know he's been on a long time ago, Voice and Rizzles type era. It was a good time sitting down.
Yeah,
but I have to just always give the call to action: like, share, subscribe. If you got something out of this episode, it helps the algorithm with all the bullshit social media stuff. But it does help to have me continue sitting down with amazing people like Kaz on the podcast. I don't even know what episode this is. I want to just say I think this is like 92.
Oh.
I think this is episode 92, man.
Okay.
I think Dre last week was 91. I just want to be sure on this send-off. Me and Kenji. Yes, 92. Episode 92 with my man Kaz.
Cool.
I appreciate all of y'all for fucking with us. But on this note, peace.